Money Vikings, welcome back. I'm gonna show you how to make $1 million in 10 years. Yeah, okay. So here it is on the board. I did a video earlier where I talked about how to build $1 million net worth in 15 years, but I was combining it with real estate. I got a new board, I crunched the numbers, I redid everything. We did it over 10 years, and we're separating real estate from the numbers. The reason I'm doing this is because most people, their net worth in America, their net worth is captured in two things. It's in their 401k, and then hopefully it's been in an S&P 500 fund, which has done pretty well, as you'll see through the years, or it is in their equity in their home. Okay, so I want to show that here. I do have some comic books out because it's Comic-Con week, but anyway, let's dive right into it here. Okay, this is a person that is basically, I'm going to go over here on the left side and talk about the 401k numbers and figures, and then on the right side I'm going to talk about real estate. And these are using real world numbers. These are actual figures, actual returns of the S&P 500 since 2013, so a little over 10 years. But the point of this is multiple fold here. I'll tell you why. What I'm trying to do is show you the habits and the actions that make people wealthy and why the rich get richer, okay? I want to show you that with the numbers, because a lot of ways personal finance and building wealth is about numbers. We talk about a lot more on our channel than just the numbers, because we know that life is dynamic and we want to have our health and we have to have good, sort of a good relationship with money. We don't want an unhealthy relationship. Money is a tool. We don't want to feel like we are always just investing and saving and thinking about a number instead of living our lives. That's not the point. The point is to maximize the utility of money, to get the greatest good out of it, and to express your highest desires and your highest sort of goals in life, all right? Your highest purpose. And so with that, let's get into it, all right? So in 2013, so this is a person that started back then with about 80,000. Okay, the reason I did that is a few different reasons. So number one, I'm Gen X, right? So I've been working since about late 90s, so a long time. So I've had some time to build up. So by 2013, this person had some money in their retirement accounts and in their investments. But the reason I'm illustrating this for all of you out there in your 20s, 30s, and early 40s is that it's like Charlie Munger says, you want to work as hard as you can to get that first 100,000 invested. At that point, Charlie Munger would say that you could probably ease off the gas pedal a little bit. So let me just do a quick check. Let me make sure. Okay, this thing is still running. Just trying to make sure we're still good, and we are. I just do everything live. I just make it happen. All right, cool. All right, stick with me here. I mean, I got Spider-Man cards too, so I'll show you classic Spider-Man cards. It's comic book week. Okay, back to building wealth. That's why we're in. Professor Greg is talking about building wealth on the Money Vikings. All right, so 2013, 80,000 started in 2012. That's because this person had a few years to try to get some money together, and this was the Top Ramen years, this was the roommates years, all the years of cutting costs as dramatically as you can when you're younger to get that first sort of nest egg started, okay? That first sort of amount of starting. Because again, the whole idea with building wealth is you're trying to hit a critical mass point. You're trying to hit a point where you have so much collected and invested that the compounding is just really taking off, okay? I find that at about the 300,000 point, that compounding like really starts to explode. So I think that Charlie Munger's quote probably needs to be reimagined for the modern era. I don't think 100,000 quite cuts it, But it's very impressive to get to 100,000 and then go from there. It's a very good launching point. It's a very good foundation, all right? So what happened in 2013, the S&P 500 went up 29%, very good year. And then there's a contribution. This person is doing a 10%, at least 10% contribution, and they're getting a match. So you would be amazed at what percentage of people have a 401k or something through their employer. There's a match offered and they don't take advantage of it. It's some crazy high percentage. Let's not be that person. Let's get that match, all right, at least. A lot of times people get like a 5%, match, something like that. Okay, so 10% and then there's 5% match. It's about $14,000 a year in contributions, all right? So what that does in 2014, with an 11% S&P 500 increase, another 14,000, that results in ending 2014 with $117,000, okay? It goes from there. 2015 was kind of a moot year. The S&P 500 only, I guess it went down by 0.73%. I'll just call it zero. Added 15,000 in contributions, 132,000. The thing I want to say about this is, and what I want to really illustrate here is, don't freak out on the down years. A lot of people freak out on the down years. And what you'll find through history is that the down years, they happen. And what happens is during that time, you buy more shares at a cheaper cost. It's called dollar cost averaging. So look that one up. You buy more shares that year at a cheaper cost. So it's actually kind of a cool thing to have it, that market. You will, when you learn some of this math, you actually want the market to go down every once in a while. You want it to go down a year, right? You want it to like drop 30%. Because that whole year, if you're contributing and you're buying shares, you're buying more shares. And then the next year it usually goes up. And that's what typically happened with real estate as well. We'll go into that in a minute. So down year, but then back up to 9%, resulting in 159,000. 2017, up 19%, 204. 2018, the S&P 500 went down 6%. And we kept adding, 215. And again, this is a nice point where everything starts to launch. 2020, 2019, up 28%, still contributing. 2020, up 16%, hitting 352. Now some real magic starts. I mean, things really start to grow from this point. You get 352, you get a 26% increase one year, plus adding contributions. It results in $459,000. But here's the part I really want you to focus in on. In 2022, the market dropped almost 20%, all right? Very scary. People freaked out. Probably a lot of people just sold everything, got out, said, I'm over it, I'm done, I can't take it, right? Because oh my gosh, my 401k was 459,000, and now it's only 396. Oh man, I lost so much money. No, you didn't. You didn't lose anything if you didn't sell. You didn't lose a thing. You own all those shares of great companies. Well, guess what happens? The next year, it popped up 24%, plus the contribution. So you can see in a matter of like, if the person just waited, if they just waited, they went up to $512,000 in value, okay? So that grew, at this point, 2024, it's up 15%, about, something like that. So it's around 610,000. All right, so we got 600,000 on this side. I'm gonna show you how we get to $1 million by getting home equity up to 464,000. So starts in 2013. Again, this is probably based on someone that's been in the workforce since about 2000. So they had about 13 years of working and the ability to save a little bit, buy a house, etc., and then start to build some equity. Hopefully they saved and did like a 10% down payment, and they had 200,000 in equity at that point in 2013 in their house. Well, in 2014, the real estate market, and I'm taking averages here, real estate is very local. So don't get too excited about the exact numbers here. This is an example. And the point of the example is to show the power of time, the power of good habits, the power of staying the course, and the power of buying assets over liabilities and not getting into a lot of debt. That's the point of this exercise. So if you're gonna go in and nitpick all the numbers, like, don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it, okay? I'm just showing you an example of how it was done and frankly, how someone could do it in the future. It's still possible. You know, if someone was kind of just getting started back in 2013 with maybe a couple $100,000 in net worth, you know, things weren't easy then. Things weren't easy in 2000 when the person started, etc. There was the dot-com crash, there was 9/11, there was a Great Recession in 2007. There's all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Okay. So anyway, Then the next year it goes up 4.5%. We're on the real estate side, so that's a 274,000 in equity. Then it goes up to 6.7%, 3.8. Okay, there was a little bit of a dip in 2018. Now 2019, because of the pandemic, saw real estate skyrocket. So you saw a 23% surge, okay? Then in 2020, it seemed to have dipped, and this is an average, national average. I know other areas are different. Again, don't get crazy with me. So minus 11%, but then in 2021, we saw another huge surge. Basically, I think based on supply and demand. I think around this time, millennials were becoming of the age to buy homes, and there's just not enough homes, okay? So 45%, that resulted in 464,000 in home equity in 10 years, and 610,000 in a 401k in 10 years, for a total of over $1,74,000. Here are the bottom line things I want to share with you. Most important thing to do here, number one, the most important thing that saved this person and made such a big difference was automation. Okay. Number two, contributing at least 10%. So you do have to get the contributions up. That's how the magic happens. If you're going to stay around that 1-2%, it's going to go a lot slower. It's going to take a lot longer, many decades, not 1 decade. This is showing 1 decade. 1 decade, I think you've got to get over the 10% hump in terms of contributions. You probably want to be more like 15%, okay? The other thing I want to show you, time and the S&P 500. So investing in growth companies and time. When I say time, I also mean not freaking out when it goes down 4%, when it goes down 6%, when it goes down 19%. Next year, who knows? The market could go down 30%. We don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it's flat. Nobody knows. But over time, it goes up. If it doesn't, then there's something wrong because the companies are failing, you know? Okay. Number 4, reinvesting for compound growth. You start to really see the compounding start. Up 16% on 512,000. Up 24% on 512,000 gets you a much bigger bump than up, 29% on only 80,000, right? So 29% on 80,000, it gets you up to 117 here, 37,000, I guess. But down here, the 24% on the 512 gets you up to 610,000, like $100,000 jump in 1 year. Compounding, that's what that is, okay? And the fifth thing, the final thing I want to leave you with is money makes money. Okay, that's the bottom line. And again, Money Vikings, we're all about teaching you guys how to have your money make money. All right. So, hey, with that, hope you have a great Comic-Con time. I hope you are on your true wealth journey in terms of building wealth. Please like and subscribe. Please add comments. Please say something in the comments about maybe you have numbers that are totally different than this. Maybe you have numbers that match up, or maybe you're just starting. I don't know. I'd like to know, actually. I learn a lot from you guys. I learn a lot from the people that watch the channel and comment. Really appreciate it. So anyway, with that, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. See ya.